Hello and welcome to Exploited, Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and we come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, it's 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon and you're probably going down the road and you have no cares in the world and I'm going to come into your life. Sometimes I think I should just come on and only talk about the good in life. And quite frankly, there is much good in life. The main way, as we've often talked about, to last through this COVID thing is to find something to be grateful for. And I try to do that every day of my life. There's a couple of things I'm especially grateful for this week, quite frankly. Has been a bit of a tough week, but I have had many good things happen. And I want to say thank you, especially to Doris Anderson over at Remax Realty in Upland. Doris is an interesting lady. She is a person who is a realtor by trade, and from what I hear, she's a darn good realtor. She cares deeply about her clients. She's not a walk fast, talk loud type. She is a person who will roll up her sleeves and make it happen for you. But I met Doris about 2 years ago when she heard me speak about this problem, and she told me it just came onto her heart and she wanted to do something, but she didn't know what to do. She wanted to make a difference on this problem, but she had to make a living. And so she made a vow to herself that as she did real estate transactions, and she works with Remax Realty over there in Upland, address 121 South Mountain Street in Upland, California. And she made a vow that every time that she closed a deal, she would send Million Kids $500. And I'm going to tell you that it is like a gift from God to see something like that. These are by far the hardest times in the world for all of us. Not just a nonprofit, but all of us. I don't even want to reach out and ask you all to donate because I know many of you are already hurting. Many of you have had your hours cut or your jobs cut completely, or your jobs just went out of business. Or many of you that own businesses are really, really struggling. But Doris sent this money this week, and I am just incredibly grateful. Something else happened this week that is really, really sad, but I am grateful for the commitment of these individuals. An individual out of Rancho Cucamonga passed away. As I understand it, he had a very long bout with cancer. His name was Steve Lester. I did not know Steve personally, but Steve knew of Million Kids, and he cared deeply about kids and keeping them safe on the internet. And so as he was passing, the family decided that they would put it into the memorial service to make donations to Million Kids. So while Steve's life has come to an end and his family is grieving deeply, I want to say thank you that his life meant something to Million Kids, that by honoring him in a memorial for those people that donated on his behalf, I want you to know that more kids will be reached about social media exploitation. And just this week, we were very busy in finding and helping locate 1 million kids, missing kids. You see, we are really at an interesting time in all of history. I'm going to get into the show in a big way. The show is going to be about the terrifying power of fantasy in online relationships. And I really want to get deep in that. But I really want you to step back a second and think about some of the things that are happening in your life and your child's life or your grandchild's life that will change all of our lives forever. You see, they will always look back to the year 2020 when they didn't get to go to school. Some of them will look back when they didn't get to graduate. Many of them will look back when they lost someone they cared about to COVID-19. Many of them will look back when their family found true hardship. If you think about this generation of kids, they're pretty blessed, okay? These are kids that have lived the good life. Since 2020, we've had a little bit of problem. We had 9/11. We had that. We also had the major market crashes in 2008 where a lot of families were really wiped out. But for the most part, we have not had a lot of real wars and hardship. Now, their lives are changing. I really want you to think about the life of your kid because I really want you to understand that our kids are going to live in a world of technology. And that is both exciting and terrifying. This will be the first generation of all generations that will be able to reach the entire world, but the entire world will be able to reach our kids. And I think parenting in this generation is the greatest calling of all time. The greatest calling. Technology is not good or bad. Technology can open our kids up to more information, more knowledge, more opportunity, more worldview than at any time in all of history. This generation of kids will have more information provided to them in one day than most of us have had in a lifetime. But they will also have less truth because it will be harder and harder for them to figure out what is being said, who's saying it, do they have any validity, what are they hiding, what is their manipulation, who are they, why are they trying to influence you to one side or the other, whether it's politics, whether it's financial, whether it's medical and health-wise. I mean, even right now with this COVID, can you tell what's really happening? Really? No. Even those numbers we get at the end of the day don't tell the true story. For instance, the numbers in Riverside County come out and they just look terrifying and you're afraid maybe to even go to Ralph's. But then you get down to Ralph's. By the way, if you get to Ralph's, you better pack a lunch because you're going to be in that line for. I was in there the other day. I was number 16 in line. I'm thinking, what is there, a famine out here? It's crazy. But it is an interesting thing because what is happening on the COVID thing, even, we find out the numbers in Riverside are very, very high. But then you find out that a lot of those are out in Coachella. Now, that's a problem. Those people in Coachella need help, and I'm not shining that on in any way. But it does distort the fact that there are ways for you to go on about your life in some way or fashion that the numbers in your community may not be as bad as you think. Having said that, you have to take it very seriously. I will be honest with you. My daughter-in-law's mother passed away last night from COVID. And she had underlying circumstances. She was not well, but the COVID did get her. So as a young person, how do you process this? You see somebody sitting there saying, well, the numbers are going up and up and up. But what they don't tell you is that they are now testing hundreds of thousands more people than they once tested. So guess what? The numbers are going to go up. So how do we teach our young people to live in a world of online relationships? Getting a phone call. I forgot to shut that down. Sorry. How do we live in a world of online relationships when we are building relationships with people we don't know? How does that work? How do we prepare this next generation to find their love online based on the terrifying power of fantasy relationships? You see, what I'm going to tell you is relationships in person are a lot different than relationships online. And we are using our normal emotion, our normal fantasy, our normal naivety to literally form relationships with people we have never met and may never meet. And what is being done about it in our society to teach our children to live in a world where they'll have 1 million followers online. They may have 20 million likes and all of them offering them a Hollywood contract. the right to be a big rap star. And how can they tell if it's a good looking guy or a good looking girl that really cares about them or somebody who's trying to suck them in? My name is Opal Singleton. This show is brought to you by Million Kids. I hope that you will follow Million Kids online at Facebook and also millionkids.org. We are starting to come up against the breaks. I'm going to ask you to stay with us, and we'll be right back.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, there are many good restaurants in the Inland Empire, but really great restaurants are hard to find. Let me tell you about the Toasted Barrel in Corona. It's a trendy, upscale steakhouse with great pasta and seafood. It's a fantastic choice for birthdays and anniversaries or just that special night out with your loved one and friends. Inland Empire magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant and Brunch for the past 3 years. The owners, Ed and Shirley, are friendly and attentive to your needs. If you're a prime rib connoisseur, this place is for you. Go ahead and try it out. The Toasted Barrel, located at 1300 El Sobrante Road in Corona. Or Google them at Toasted Barrel to make reservations. I guarantee you're going to love it. Be sure and tell Ed and Shirley that Opal sent you. It will be a night you'll never forget.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton. We come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, just in case you're a new listener, and I've been told this week several people have emailed me and told me I'm new listener, send me some books. We do sell books on this show. I wrote a book called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. That is $16. And the other one is Societal Shift, A World Without Borders, A Home Without Walls. Both of them are available at millionkids.org. MILLION, millionkids.org. If you'll go on there and sign up and buy those books, I greatly appreciate it. That's how we support our company and our nonprofit. We are a public benefit nonprofit located right here in Riverside area. We serve both Riverside and San Bernardino County. We've trained over 400,000 people. We used to go out into schools and do a lot of talking. I remember that. I also remember when gas was, 85 cents a gallon. So there you go. Anyway, I read an article today that just puts the fear of God in you, especially if you do the work that I do. We are so busy right now. I can already stand it. And I am so grateful for those people that are supporting us so that we can do this. We have so many open cases right now. And so does ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children. Those people are working night and day. All a parent has to do is read this article that I'm about to read you, and suddenly you start to realize where this is headed. As we are headed into a fall semester where kids are out of school and online, and many of them will be unsupervised. Many will be bored, and many will have time on their hands, and many of them will be adventuresome and want to make new relationships. The problem with online relationships is it's all about fantasy. Very few parents stop and think out the difference between a real life relationship and a fantasy relationship with someone you have never met. You know, if you date somebody for 9 months, you know all about them, okay? Maybe they're living in mom's basement and they have 16 dogs or cats. You know? Maybe they're wearing an ankle bracelet because they're on parole. That's how it happens if in real life. You can kind of tell what it's like. You can validate. You can look at their eyes. Remember the idea of body language and facial expressions? That's kind of all gone because all the communications now with your thumbs on a text. But, you know, that idea of connecting with another person has not gone away. In fact, it's accelerated. That's what social media is all about. It is called the social validation feedback loop. You post something and you wait. And you see how many people respond. And we trained them, Mom and Dad, because we were on Facebook or MySpace and even Instagram and Kik is some of that. And you post something and you wait for somebody to give you an admiration and approval, except you don't know who those people are today. With Facebook, you could friend and unfriend. You could pick a small group of friends and not admit a bunch of people you don't know. But with TikTok, you don't do that. You go online and you send your cute little video out there and your cute little tush doing the twerking thing. And all of a sudden, you have 85,000 people who think you're one hot babe. And they want to get acquainted. And you're 9 years old and you think you're hot. And you have no idea what is really going on here, except you know you got more likes than your friend. And you are going to be famous. And these guys will come on to you. And the danger of an app like TikTok or Like, Likee, or Byte, Byte, is you are now into mass audience live streaming. Your child not only goes out there, but they get other people that can text back to them and hook up. So how does your child know if that guy's real, if he's really a talent scout, or if he's really a hot 12-year-old guy that he's going to really like your young 8, 9, 10-year-old girl? Because what happens is our kids go on this social media site using the same real live emotions that they have when they fall in love with a boy or girl down the street. Only you can't really see them. And the problem is, this fall, we are going to put first graders on the air. We're going to put third graders on the air. They know how to use technology. We're going to put autistic kids on the air without ever surrounding them with an entire group of people to help them. The problem is all these kids get technology. They can upload it and download it and shoot that photo and hide it from you and do all kinds of things. But they don't understand pedophilia. They don't know adult sex, and they don't know what to do. I want to read you this article that just came out before I came on the air. It's Fresno. I do a lot of work up in Fresno. A lot of young teenagers that fall in love on those dating sites end up being trafficked down here in Moreno Valley and Hemet, Arupa and Corona and Riverside. And a lot of our kids who fall in love end up with some gang member in Fresno or Madera or Bakersfield or Ventura. And that is how it goes. So this is Fresno. Here's the headline on this thing. It says basically 34 Central Valley men have been arrested and booked in the Fresno County Jail on a number of charges related to arranging to meet with a child for sex. The sheriff is Sheriff Margaret Mims. Hey, a lady sheriff. I'm proud of you. I haven't ever met you, Margaret, but I hope I do someday. You're my kind of hero. While everybody else is defunding police and cutting them back, this woman is saying you are not doing this to our children in Fresno. By the way, we have sheriffs like that in Riverside and San Bernardino, for what it's worth. Both of our sheriffs are deeply committed. Your police chief over there in Fontana, part of ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children, deeply committed to keeping your kids safe. Get this story. Undercover investigations from many law enforcement agencies as part of the California Internet Crimes Against Children, that's called ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children, posed as children 12 to 13 years old. They use multiple apps and they arrange meetings with people who thought they were going to come out and have sex with a 12 or 13-year-old. In less than 1 week, there were 34 men arrested in Fresno thinking they are going to have sex with a 12 or 13-year-old. You cannot tell me she looked 18, baby. If you're 12 or 13, you're a long ways from 18. Authorities say the suspects ranged everywhere from 19 years old to 63 years old. And so what is happening is more kids, they did this undercover sting because more kids are spending more time on computers right now, and we're just getting started. We are headed into a big time fall when we are going to be so busy at Million Kids, we won't be able to handle it. Look at this. One of them that showed up had already been picked up several times before, including wearing one of those bracelets. I want you to hear this number loud and clear. This is called NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They are the place where you call the hotline to report pedophilia or sex trafficking. They are saying that the online enticement reports have increased 93% this year over last year. Now, keep in mind, COVID started for me March 12th. That was the last day I gave a public presentation to educate parents and teenagers about this. The only way I can do it now is through Zoom and this radio show and my podcast on Voice America Variety Channel. And so get this, 93% increase in online enticement reports of children in just a few months this year. We are headed to one scary place. And nobody's talking about that when they talk about the danger of our children, whether or not they should go to school. All it takes is for a kid to go online and go, I'm bored. My dad's unemployed. I don't know what I'm going to do today. I'm afraid. I'm lonely. And all of those are like erecting an electronic billboard on the highway that my kid is available and looking to be loved and liked in all the wrong places. And this is going to happen in just historic numbers as we go into this fall. My name is Opal Singleton. It is millionkids.org. Please go to millionkids.org. Hit that donate button. Go to a P.O. box. Send us a check. We appreciate you. Thank you. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.exploited.com. millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer. Hello and welcome back to Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we come to you every Saturday at 3 o'clock. All of these shows are archived at millionkids.org. If you want to share this show while I'm talking about it with your adult children or so they can share it with their grandchildren, I'm welcoming you to do that. Go to millionkids.org. You can also hear these shows live, even if you're not in the AM 590 territory, by going to www.am590theanswer.com. And they also play them at 3 o'clock on Saturday, California time. So you can hear it anywhere in the world, even if your kid's in Germany. So there you go. So I want to talk about the terrifying power of fantasy in online relationships. This is true whether you're an adult or a child. Think about dating sites. Now, what is happening with gangs? Gangs are driving sex trafficking. They're preying on dating sites because our kids are on dating sites. They're 13 to 25 years old, some of them. I say to myself, why would a 25-year-old be on a 13-year-old dating site? Really, Mom? Have you looked at the dating sites your kids are on and what's being said? These sites scare me to death because what happens is you go on there and these guys are organized. Here's the problem with pedophiles. They no longer slink around in the dark, getting a photo and keeping it to themselves or sharing it with their cousin. They are organized. They are planned. There is a process. And they are very good at getting your child sucked in huge numbers, by the way. The Center for Disease Control said that 18,000 kids a day, I got that wrong, sorry, 18,000 kids a day are sending a naked photo online. Now, I think that number is quite low, but I'll take that. Center for Disease Control. 18,000 kids a day are sending a naked photo. The University of Florida said that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed because they send that photo. How does that work? Let me give you an example. You send off a TikTok video, you get 500,000 followers, at least 5,000 of them are pedophiles. If your child doesn't know what pedophilia is and adult sex and how grooming and seduction works, they better not be on the internet. Because this guy simply comes back on a text going, "Way, baby, that's hot. Send me more of those videos. Hey, let's talk on Instagram. I'm a scout. I'm a talent scout. I'm an agent. Get me more videos just like this one." You see, pedophiles now go online and they don't hide in the dark. They form large-scale communities. And what they do is that they have a system. We have one case I often talk about where they were the finder, looper, closer. I can't even remember all they were. But depending on how the child responded is which one of the pedophiles responded. They get these large-scale live streaming rings, and they will have put out there like they're a young guy, or they'll put their young guy up front. And then depending on how your child responds is how they responded. We had a ring like that they gave themselves names. There were 9 of them, and not one of those kids knew they were talking to 9 different guys. And literally they had thousands and thousands of victims. And so it works exactly like this case here. In this case, this is what we call a reverse sting, the one I just gave you from Fresno. Law enforcement pretended to be one of those kids, and literally in less than a week, they were able to arrest 37 men who thought, just in the town of Fresno, who thought they were going to go out and meet up with a 12 or 13-year-old kid. So how do we teach our kids about the power of fantasy online? Well, I think we have to start by talking about relationships. What is a healthy relationship? And what's an exploitative relationship? I often, when I used to go into schools, we did that. We talked about, are they doing all the asking? The first way you know a pedophile, you're talking to a pedophile, by the way, is they will move you from one app to the other. If they meet you on TikTok, they'll send you over to Snapchat or Instagram. If you're on Instagram, you go to Snapchat. They want to make sure you're not a cop. And they also want to see if they already have control of you. You see, one of the problems with this generation that we're about to do is as we go into the next semester of school, they're going to be putting first graders online, second graders, third graders. They don't know what a pedophile is. And yes, they'll be able to do their school okay online with supervision. But you and I both know you get addicted to that screen and off you go. When nobody's looking, you're going to go try it out. And every one of us, who amongst us didn't try something like that when we were going through puberty? And I remember trying a slow jam fizz. That was a bit disastrous. But anyway, it's the nature of kids to try it out and try the boundaries. But this generation is going to be put online, and nobody's going to talk to them about pedophilia and why somebody wants that naked photo. The scary part of this is our kids get the technology. Many of you may have heard me talk about a case where literally he was 9 and he was smart. And mom and dad were watching, but, they're smarter than us. And he uploaded Kik, and he took a photo of his private little thing there, and he sent it off to him. And that night, they found him outside the kid's house watching him in the backyard. And he had that photo on his phone. Photos have GPS on them, but when you're 9, you don't know that stuff. But you are able to figure out the app and upload and download, and you just think it's funny. Because you don't understand pedophilia. We had a case like that over in Colton not too long ago on the app Likee, Likee. And she was 10 and she had sent several photos. You see, here's why they don't tell. They're 10, they're 9, they're 8, they're 7. God forbid they're even younger than that. And they want to be loved. They want to please. It is the nature of a 7-year-old kid. They do take them out to a pizza parlor. They'll dance and move around and see who's looking. A 7-year-old is all about making sure somebody's looking at them and they get approval. And that is what is happening, only it's happening electronically. And they want the man to like them. And the man shows them other little kids that did it, and it's okay. Think about what just happened. Your child's first sexual experience is going to be at 7 years old as some perpetrator showed your child the photo of somebody else he's violated and wants your child to emulate that. And your child doesn't tell. Why? Because this man really likes them. And they don't want to get the man in trouble. That's how 7-year-olds think. And besides, the man thinks she's really cool and she's about to be discovered. And that is how it happens. And it is that simple. Here's the problem with that. They haven't been through puberty. They have no understanding of what is happening. But their first sexual encounter will be one that will devastate them for the rest of their lives, as it takes on a whole new identity, a whole new vision of self-worth. If they get in trouble, they will blame themselves because there was nobody else in the room that made them do that. And so that is the terrifying power of fantasy online. By the way, before you feel too terrified for your children, adults fall for this every day. You hear story after story after story of people who meet up online, meet up in one of those dating sites, meet up in one of those chat rooms, and they go down and meet them at Starbucks. Well, that was back when you could meet somebody at Starbucks, but anyway, you meet them up somewhere in the park, and all of a sudden you look at this and you go, where in the heck did you get that photo on that dating site? That isn't you, and that's nobody in your family. The only way I recognized you is with your dog, okay? That is what happens. You go on and get a fantasy relationship. Here's the power of it. The hurt that follows is real life hurt. I don't care if you're 7 or 70. That hurt of rejection, of being tricked, of being duped, of being taken advantage of is the same kind of hurt that you feel if it had happened in person. But if this took place in the privacy of online and nobody knows about it, you will hide that hurt and you will literally go into a denial and a scary place where a kid begins to cut and they get scared and they get depressed and they can't sleep and they can't go to school and they start to run away and they don't know who to tell. And that is when Million Kids gets involved with the family and the kid. Please support our work at millionkids.org. Go there, hit that donate button, help us out any way you can. We so much appreciate you, and thank you for Doris Anderson for what you do. Be right back.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, there are many good restaurants in the Inland Empire, but really great restaurants are hard to find. Let me tell you about the Toasted Barrel in Corona. It's a trendy, upscale steakhouse with great pasta and seafood. It's a fantastic choice for birthdays and anniversaries or just that special night out with your loved one and friends. Inland Empire magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant and Brunch for the past 3 years. The owners, Ed and Shirley, are friendly and attentive to your needs. If you're a prime rib connoisseur, this place is for you. Go ahead and try it out. The Toasted Barrel, located at 1300 El Sobrante Road in Corona. Or Google them at Toasted Barrel to make reservations. I guarantee you're going to love it. Be sure and tell Ed and Shirley that Opal sent you. It will be a night you'll never forget.
Nothing beats the services offered by Strike a Pose in Covina. From weddings, anniversaries, pregnancies, family heritage photos, or professional headshots for business cards and publicity, Jamie and Steve will do your makeup, get the perfect lighting and pose, and edit them so you look your best. These folks are the best in the business. Go online to strikeapose.net and make an appointment today.
AM 590, The Answer.
Well, hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton. We are talking about the terrifying power of fantasy in online relationships. And I just want to share with you another kind of concept, a different approach to why this is important. You know, there is nothing wrong with fantasy. Absolutely not. It's one of those things in our lives we can go to, we can pretend, we can try out new ideas, we can take ourselves out of the stress, we can enhance our creativity, depending on how you're using it. I am not against fantasy in any way, shape, or form. However, what I want you to understand is the terrifying power of fantasy when you start to look at it with your child online. If you think about it, first of all, we all want what we want. I'm no different than you are about that, and your kid is no different. We want to be loved. We want to be liked. We want somebody to think we're pretty. You know, we want somebody to think we're successful or that we're smart or that we're going to be discovered. We all want the same thing. It's called ego, and we can respond to it easily. But the problem with the internet is that it feels like a world with no consequences. And kids will tell me this all the time. When I wrote the book Seduce, The Grooming of America's Teenager, it is because I came to understand the power of fantasy online. I wrote that book because a kid over at Pomona High School made me mad one day, and we were talking about Grand Theft Auto. In GTA, first of all, you're supposed to be at least 18, and nobody I know is 18 on that silly game. It's still a very popular game, but in there you pay real money to have virtual sex with a virtual prostitute, and then you virtually kill her to get your real money back. And all the kids are doing it. I have recently gone on Twitch because I wanted to understand Twitch. Twitch is playing out videos, and most of them are video gamers. And it gives you a chance to go on and understand the world of video gaming. But what the young man at Pomona High was telling me, I said, so you did this deal with the prostitute in GTA 5, right? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, how do you feel about that? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, wait a minute. You just told me that you paid real money to have virtual sex with a virtual prostitute, and then you kill her. Don't you feel bad? And he goes, why? Why should I? It's just a game. It's what you have to do to win. Well, now that I'm on Twitch and I'm seeing all of these games, you realize that, they're using sex over and over and over. It is not sex between two caring, loving people who are considerate and show respect. It is one-way sex. It's often sex as a weapon. It is very advanced sex for any kind of young person. And they are playing this game all day long, and they say it doesn't count because it's not really sex. It reminds me of that article I talked about last year with Teen Vogue magazine for kids that were 13 to 18 years old, and they were promoting backside sex and saying you're still a virgin, it's not sex. And killing isn't killing. I get that. In video gaming, they're killing everything. They kill everything that moves and some that doesn't move. And so they say, well, it's not really killing. I have one church kids tell me that sin on the internet wasn't sin because it's not real. I'm not sure how that'll work out for them. But it's a fascinating thing because I want you to transfer the fact that we have, all of us as adults have somewhere, not everybody, but many adults pay real money so their kid can live in a fantasy world. And that is what's happening in these games, whether you're 6 years old, 3 years old, 9 years old, or 15. Now, I'm not saying that animation is bad, cartoons are bad, or any of that. What I am saying, though, is that we are conditioning our children to live in a world of fantasy that is not real. And so they come out with this feeling that whatever I do on the internet doesn't count. Well, that works really good until you start to use real live emotions and you get invested with that person. Okay. And you start to see the person on the other end as being some wonderful, gorgeous hunk who cares about you. When in fact, it's probably some 59-year-old pedophile who already has a library of 1 million photos that he's already bought, sold, and traded, and he's just trying to groom your child to give this. That is why the book is called Seduce: The Grooming of America's Teenagers. They do not break into the house and steal our kids' photos or take their picture. They become our kids' best friend by giving our kid everything they want emotionally. I'm sorry your dad isn't there for you. He doesn't know what he's missing. I get that your mom's boyfriend is a creep. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to take care of you. Hey, you are hot. You are talented. And I am crazy about you. And I just need a photo with a few more. Show me a little more flesh. And that is how it begins, and that luring in process. And then the blackmail begins. And these kids are trapped, and they are trapped by their own fantasy. In other words, I have a book in Societal Shift, A World Without Borders, A Home Without Walls. It talks about the phantom relationship and the prism of shame. Because as that child is now being blackmailed and they look around the room, there is nobody in that room with them. They did that all by themselves based on the fantasy that they created. Pedophiles are very good at this. They will only give you a little bit of information because they don't want to get in the way of your fantasy. By the way, so are gigolos, and so are guys and girls on dating sites that are out there, and you go in there with real life emotions. When you get duped, you get hurt, you hurt with real life emotions. The problem is we are doing this to our kids when they are very young, before they get their moral identity, their sexual identity. They don't even know who they are. They don't understand adult sex, and they are already violated by someone they have never met because someone access them and use fantasy to groom them in. If we're going to put our kids on the internet, let's teach them about grooming. It is my experience that kids want to be leaders. When I share this with them, they go, oh my God, I wish somebody had told me that a month ago. What about my little sister? Can they get the photo off Snapchat? You would not believe the questions you get. It is important to have that dialogue. If you have not had the sex talk with your child, I would not recommend putting them on a cell phone, because if they are too young for the sex talk, they are too young for a phone, because somebody else is going to have that sex talk for them. My name is Opal Singleton, and I know this is hard to hear. I heard a listener following me the other day going, I didn't want to hear you, but I needed to hear you, and I thank you. And so I appreciate each and every one of you that listen to this show. They're all archived at millionkids.org if you want to download this over there and share it with other people. I also appreciate each and every one of you that listen and share and follow and get involved, and mostly of all, that you're willing to support us financially. This is the hardest time of our life. We are going into a convergence where technology, our kids will have 1 million followers, and they're not going to be in school this year, and they're going to be online at a very young age, and they are going to have more time, and they're going to be posting, I'm bored, and my dad's unemployed, and all the things that pedophiles are looking for. And so this is a scary time for an organization like Million Kids. I cannot catch up with it. In fact, I apologize in advance. If you've called something or emailed in something and I haven't answered, bear with me. I'm trying to get to it. But even internet crimes against children over at Homeland Security that do these, even your law enforcement, right as we're cutting back their funds, and they're trying to protect your kids, they are booked solid on this. We are going into a fall where we are going to be so busy we can hardly stand it, and we cannot make public presentations and sell our books. So if there was ever a time, I need people to come forward and say, your work is important, it's valuable, and we need you, and I maybe can't give much, or maybe I can do something more. If you have a foundation or a corporation that wants to sponsor us, I will tell you, we need it from the bottom of my heart. I thank each and every one of you. This is going to be an interesting fall. It is a world-changing event. It is historic. When would we ever go through a semester where our kids don't go to school, as TikTok and Likee and apps are expanding the reach and ability to reach our child, and at the same time, businesses are compromised so that we have a shortage of funding? Who would have believed even 6 months ago this would happen? We need you now more than ever. Please go to millionkids.org. Hit that donate button. We appreciate you. Folks, these are tough times, and my prayers are for you and for us. Put your arms around your kids. Get involved. Get yourself an avatar. Play that video game and let them know how much you love them. Have a great week, folks. See you next Saturday, 3 o'clock.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology, coming to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer. Hey, I want to tell you about one of my heroes, Doris Anderson. She's a realtor over at Remax Realty in Upland. Her phone number, 951-733-8899. Doris has pledged $500 from every house she closes. There's a woman who supports an important cause.